Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, distinguished guests, and folks of all stripes, put your hands together for the Space Cadet Sports Podcast. Houston, we have Paul Salazar Jr.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Space Cadet Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Salazar Jr. The Space Cadet Sports Podcast is a Houston Astros podcast. It's based off of my Substack, the Space Cadet Sports blog there, where we talk about the Astros. And I am your host, Paul Salazar Jr. I am a comedy writer, improviser, just all-around silly goose. I'm a native Houstonian, was born and raised in Houston, Texas, and ventured out to Los Angeles for a career in the entertainment industry, and now I do a podcast. But yeah, welcome to the Space Cadet Sport Podcast. Normally we talk about Houston Astros, but coming to you from the studio here in LA today, Carla, our guest host and producer, Carla the dog, I should say, for those of you who don't know, Carla the dog thought maybe I should jump on mic today to react to something special that's happening that anybody in Houston definitely is going to be talking about today. And while this is generally just an Astros-based podcast so far, and the blog has generally been Astros-based so far, you know, there's no reason that I can't jump on and talk about the Houston Texans unveiling 4 new jerseys today. If anybody from Houston, you probably have heard about this, or you know that this is happening today. Hopefully you have been able to see it. I do know that it is still in the work day for a lot of people in Houston, so maybe you have not seen it yet, but if you haven't, definitely get your way to social media or to whatever publication you go to, whatever blog you read, because I'm honestly, my feelings about the Texans are pretty complicated. So I'm probably going to be one of the biggest Houston Texans skeptics out there. I was born and raised in Houston, Texas. I'm a huge sports fan. I grew up loving the Astros, the Oilers, and the Rockets, even the Houston Aeros. Like if it was Houston, the Comets oh my gosh. The Comets was a little later because that was like the late 90s. But definitely I throw them in there to my teams growing up that I loved and watched and cared a lot for. The Dynamo came a little bit later for me. I definitely have an appreciation for the Dynamo now, but anybody from H-Town knows that you kind of support the teams out there, and some of us have teams that we love more than others. Some of us don't like certain teams, but for the most part we don't spread too much H-Town hate out there. So I admit that while I'm a huge Houston sports fan, my Houston, Texas fandom has been very complicated. The Houston Texans, I was very excited about the Houston Texans coming to existence in 2003. That's definitely, I was very, very much excited about getting a football team after getting my heart broken by Bud Adams and the Adams family. They took the Oilers, out of Houston and over to Tennessee. And, so there was a lot of years without a football team for me, just kind of playing Madden as an agnostic, like having to figure out what team do I play with, because I don't want to, even though the Titans is the exact same roster I love and care for, I didn't want to use the Titans. Those first couple seasons they were the Oilers, which made absolutely no sense. But so I've been very excited recently about the Houston Texans, potentially turning it around. Their last season, they had a really good season under rookie head coach DeMeco Ryans. It's good to see DeMeco Ryans back with the Texans. I definitely followed the Texans very closely when DeMeco Ryans was playing for them. So to see him back to see him kind of lead this charge and this kind of renaissance for the team has been great. That's a storyline that I was very much rooting for. Yet, I still didn't really follow the Texans that closely last season because, honestly, it's been hard. It's been hard. Today we're doing more of a celebration of the new jerseys, but for the most part, I'm just giving you this context to let you know that I'm coming into this kind of skeptical. I still haven't completely. While I am excited about the Texans and the potential of C.J. Stroud and D'Amico Ryans and all these cool things that are happening with the team, I still. I kind of feel like I'm the black sheep of the family still. I haven't I haven't accepted the invitation to Thanksgiving quite yet for the Houston Texans. But, I do want to be the prodigal son and to come back someday. And I think that this jersey launch is definitely, pushing the meter in the right direction for me. I do think that this team is taking steps in the right direction. So I'm like, what? I think this is it. This might be the season that I'm back with the Texans, that I'm back following them a little bit more closely. Now to be clear, I didn't choose like any other NFL team to follow. Nor did I completely ignore the league. I still play fantasy football every year. I still try to draft my, Texans players. It's just, I was like, why am I following so closely this team that I don't really respect the ownership, at least at the time when I was walked away from it, and I really don't respect the results that they're giving me on the field. Times are changing, and that is good. So I'm excited to see that. For the longest time when people ask me who my football team was, I would always say the Houston Oilers. That was my team. But now, with these jerseys, they kind of have been listening to what Houstonians want. There was one Houston Chronicle article that I was reading about it. For those of you who are new to the podcast, this I very much say this is a fan podcast. This is a fan blog. I don't pretend to be a journalist. I don't pretend to be an expert. But what I do is I read a lot. I've always been a vociferous reader. I've read so much. That's just kind of my thing. I would rather to read and be a little bit more knowledgeable of things because I'll be honest, I think it just stems from an insecurity. I feel like I don't know too much, so I want to know more. So I do a lot of reading. I read up on a lot of this, even though it's just a jersey launch. But it was very interesting to see. In the Houston Chronicle, they said that the Houston Texans have basically worn the same jersey for 22 seasons. Or maybe it was 23 seasons. I'm trying to do the math. I think it's 22. But yeah, like some shade blasted there. And that has felt true. I never. I feel like I talked myself into the jerseys when the jerseys were launched. I was like, this is acceptable. It's not that I was ever completely dismissive of them. They just seemed like a very perfectly fine, middle of the road NFL jersey design. But that was back in 2002 or whenever they launched the jerseys. So, a lot has changed since then. Definitely, they look kind of antiquated. They looked kind of silly, the jerseys, I feel like. But at the same time, they didn't, they don't really stick out like a sore thumb when you look at all the other kind of, fits that NFL teams are putting out there. So, It was kind of funny, to see that shade from the Houston Chronicle. But I do think that Cal McNair and Hannah McNair, they have heard this. So this is a quote from CEO, club chairman Cal McNair. He says, quote, we are so proud to reveal our new uniforms. They're even more special because they are inspired by and for our fans. So that's definitely what's kind of the thing here is they wanted to get four different looks for as a wide variety of fans as they could. so I'm looking at them here. I think for me, it's nice to see kind of a redesign for their just normal home and away kits. I think they kind of changed the bullhorn look. They changed the lettering. The color, the colors. While I don't think there is any huge color changes here for the Houston Texans. It does. The blue does look a little darker in these pictures, but I believe the deep steel color, or whatever they called their blue, has always been a little darker. I think that's just the way maybe it looks. I don't think there was a color change. I didn't see that for at least for the regular home and away kits. I do like the lettering. I do like the new look here. I'm happy that there's an update. I'm also kind of happy. You don't want to see too much change. You don't want it to be too much of a wild swing with your normal home and away kits. I think unless you just are really confident with the whole rebrand, which this isn't. This isn't a whole rebrand. They're trying to keep a lot of the same branding. So I think this is a huge win with the normal home and away jerseys. They're not blowing me away, but at the same time they're modernized. I think when you watch the Instagram, when you watch the videos of the young players, looking at these jerseys, they're excited about them. They're commenting on the lettering. They think they like it, and that's important. But for me, the two biggest things are going to be the alternate jerseys. So we got those four fresh looks. So those are the first two. Just regular home and away kits for me. I think nice to be modernized, but not really the big story here. To me, the big story is going to be the Color Rush and the H-Town jerseys. Now, the Color Rush looks nice. They're going to be all red. The Battle Red jerseys are going to be all red, top to bottom. Helmet, jersey, and pants. They look great. They have the candy red paint helmet, which looks fantastic. We love that reference to candy red there. I believe the face mask is red. Like, this is just completely redded out. It looks great, and for the first time in Houston Texans history, we're actually going to have a different logo design. Up until this point, I believe all the other teams in the league have had dual helmet design, having different logos on their helmets, whereas the Houston Texans were stuck in 2003 and just with one helmet design. So this is going to be a new thing for the Texans, but not a new thing for the league. So that's nice. I do like this new helmet design. There's a horn on this. It's not going to be the Houston Texans Toro bull design that has been on the helmets forever. So it's good to see something new. I really like the look of it. It kind of, it's great because it's not, I feel like, very easily could turn into like a Rams style looking design, but this isn't that. It really is its own thing. It is unique because the bull helmet looks great in red and the paint job is fantastic. I really like this look. I think it's a win. I'm like looking at the helmet now. It's under this red light. It kind of looks like a Mandalorian helmet. It looks fantastic. But yeah, for me, oh man, I lost my link there. But I'm gonna pull it up again real quick. But for me, the best thing is going to be the blue jerseys, the H-Town look. I know that's not in their branding. I don't think that's what they're calling it. Hang on one second. But yeah, like this, like, yeah, I'm looking at the pictures here, and it's hard for me because they're bringing back the baby blue, the kind of the Oilers look. They're calling it H-Town blue, and these they're going to be Color Rush uniforms as well, and they're going to introduce a new logo on an alternate helmet. and along with the 2 logo system. So that means that now they're bringing in a new helmet. So this H-Town Blue helmet is going to be this blue H kind of old English style lettering with a red star on it. It looks absolutely fantastic. To me, it kind of almost is reminiscent not only of obviously of the Houston Oilers, which they're trying to do a playoff of here, but almost like the late 90s, early 2000s Houston Rockets jerseys and logos with the pinstripes and the grinning rocket, almost in a way that, like, I've always said has been like just such a silly design, but like we've just started owning it, and it's gone from being ironic to being cool. And now, like, I've got to admit, this kind of look reminds me of it in a way. It's the shading on the letters that kind of gives it that like look like the Rockets lettering, but it's not quite that sharp. It's just kind of more the shading of it. So it's, don't worry. I don't think you don't need to worry that this is going to be a little too much. I think it's perfect. I think it's a perfect amount of too much. I love this, and I also love that there's so much blue in it. Now, admittedly, Hannah McNair, in an interview with the Houston Chronicle I was reading, was saying that they wanted to do more with this kind of powder blue, baby blue, Oiler blue, which we're now calling H-Town blue. They wanted to do more with this color and have it be more prominent in the jersey design. However, the Tennessee Titans and the NFL pushed back on it because, they didn't want, obviously, the Titans didn't want the Texans to be using those colors. However, I think really what happened, they kind of poked the bear a bit, the Titans did, by wearing the old Oilers colors and old Oilers jerseys against the Texans. It seemed like a completely weird and unnecessary move to kind of anger up and rile up a fan base, but also the owners. The McNairs didn't take too kindly to that behavior, so they started pushing back and trying to get this kind of H-Town blue into their jerseys. They've been saying in the press that they've been listening to fans, and fans have wanted this type of throwback jersey and this kind of blue to be introduced into the jerseys. And so they did it. Now, I know, it isn't it's just kind of like the accent color, if you will, but it looks amazing. I love this jersey. I think, this jersey alone, with the H-Town lettering and the dark blue, the H helmet. You even have the Houston Texans Toro, the bull has a ice blue kind of outline to it as well. So this jersey I think is fantastic. I love this logo. I think the alternates are really exciting here. I think it's a time to be excited about the Houston Texans. I think they're really wise to be dropping these new jerseys, because with a new, with a rookie coach and a rookie quarterback, last season was great. People are turning back on to the Houston Texans. They're giving them another shot, if you will. People like me, who've been like, I don't know, maybe when they're good, I'll give them another shot. Or maybe when they're not being so unfortunate as an ownership group, I'll give them another shot. Whatever the case may be. So there's people like me that are watching and they're seeing these jerseys and they are getting excited because, these jerseys do excite me. I am excited to see what C.J. Stroud, what D'Amico Ryans, what Tank Dell, what these group of players can do this upcoming season, and these jerseys are going to play a huge part of it. I think, I'm going to have to look at it. We're going to have to look at the rankings of the Houston sports teams' jerseys now, because for the longest time, I feel like the Houston Texans jerseys have always been in the basement. Even the Dynamo, would be like, even the Dynamo, they were doing these, the purple jerseys this season. I don't want to call it something that that they probably are trying to be careful with the terminology, but I almost call it like the chopped and screwed jerseys, but I don't think that's probably what the Dynamo called them. But like I'm just saying, like there's been some new jerseys that have come out, the Dynamo and the Texans now. I think there needs to be a new organization of the rankings of the Houston jerseys in this city, because I think the Texans have shot up the list. I'm not going to say they're number one, but they, right now they're pretty high up there. I'm a sucker for the Astros jerseys, but yeah, I don't know. I think for sure I could put the Rockets in the basement though. The global jersey thing, the global logo design, ever since the Tillman Fertitta type stuff, I haven't really been too excited about. Oh, what? No, I like the Spaceman. I do like the Spaceman thing they did this last season. Yeah, I think this is a much bigger conversation than I'm prepared to have right now. But we'll definitely get into that some other time. But yeah, I just wanted to jump on, do a quick little special news alert. A special news alert. Yeah, we're gonna go with that in branding. But no, I just wanted to jump on real quick for this breaking news Space Cadet Sports episode about the Houston Texans jerseys. Definitely excited about the series in Chicago that the Houston Astros have coming up right now, later this afternoon. We're definitely hoping to see change in the Astros results this series. While I am mentioning it, something that I mentioned in the last podcast, I believe, or the last article, was that we're not sure if Framber Valdez will be able to get that second start in the series. It looks like he will not. The team has put Spencer Arrighetti set as a starter for the second game. So if Framber Valdez comes back, it will either be Mexico City or the next series. But that is to be determined. I do not know right now. All I know is that Spencer Arrighetti for sure is getting that second start. But yeah, we'll see. Hopefully the Astros will get, like I said, they desperately need wins. We are praying for a sweep, but I am calling for at least 2 out of 3 against this Cubs team. We will see. That's going to be it for today's emergency episode of the Space Cadet Sports Podcast. Thanks so much for listening. Please subscribe and give us a 5-star rating on wherever you're listening to this podcast. Let us know what you think of it. You can find us at Space Cadet Sports on Instagram and TikTok. You can find me personally at Paul Salazar Jr. on all social media. And if you're just wanting some pictures of the cute co-host here of this podcast, co-host and producer Carla the dog, you can find our Instagram at good.dog.carla. Thanks so much for listening, and vamos Astros.